Hello, architects, engineers, homeowners, and all stakeholders in the built environment. And thank you for watching the videos I did about RA 9266. Well, this video you're watching right now is a continuation of RA 9266 Part 1, where in that video I mentioned the 5 articles in the Architecture Act of 2004, better known in the industry as RA 9266. Okay, if you have not watched that first video I did entitled RA 9266 Part 1, I suggest you do that later after you have watched this video. Alright? Okay. Now, by the way, I thought of coming up in short videos about RA 9266 so as not to bore you with an hour talk about this subject. And this particular episode you are watching right now is entitled RA 9266 Part 2. Now, in this video, I will briefly touch the first article of RA 9266 entitled General Provision. There are 3 sections under Article 1, General Provisions. Namely, Section 1 is the short title, Section 2 is Statement of Policy, and Section 3 is the definition of terms. Now, in this particular video, I will only be dealing with Sections 1 and 2 due to the time constraint that I have set in all my videos about RA 9266. As I have mentioned, a while ago. As we reach in Section 3, definition of terms, we will encounter a long list of words with descriptions on those words, right? Just to give us clarity to those terms. So I will be mentioning all of them, and probably I may expound some of it a little, or I may give my 2 cents worth, so to speak, in those terms. Now, this is the reason why I thought of having Section 3 in a separate video, right? Okay. Now, as a segue from my RA 9266 Part 1 to my RA 9266 Part 2, let me just say that the Republic Act RA 9266 was passed in Congress. It began and was held on the 28th day of July 2003, and it was passed on March 17, 2004. This act was enacted by the Senate and by the House of Representatives. Okay? Now, to know more about it, the history behind the story is in my previous episode. And I will attach the link here for your reference, or go to my YouTube channel entitled All About Shelters and click RA 9266 Part 1. So, from my previous video, I mentioned that we have 5 articles under RA 9266. And for the coming few videos, okay, I will just be talking about the details of the 5 articles of RA 9266. The first article is entitled General Provision, and this article has only 3 sections, namely Section 1, short title, Section 2, Statement of Policy, and Section 3, Definition of Terms. As I have said a while ago, due to the time constraint for this particular video, I will only be discussing the first 2 sections in Article 1. The first section of Article 1, General Provision, is titled Short Title. And it stated that the official short title of this act is called Architecture Act of 2004. But you may also use RA 9266 as a short title of this act, which many people in the industry are using. But please take note that the official short title, as written in Article 1, Section 1 in this act, is Architecture Act of 2004. Now, obviously, Section 1 is already suggests that we should not be worried, in saying the long title version of this act, or not being worried about what memorizing or have saying the correct words of the official long name of this act, especially on seniors, without offense to my age group. All right, now allow me to read the official name of this act, which I am posting it now on the screen for the benefit of everyone. And it reads, an act providing for a more responsive and comprehensive regulation for the registration, licensing, and practicing of architecture. Repealing for the purpose Republic Act number 545 as amended, otherwise known as an act to regulate the practice of architecture in the Philippines, and for other purpose. Okay. Now you have read and probably heard how long the official name is, right? I do hope that you can still say the official name exactly after reading it for 5 times. So no worries. I won't dare to challenge you, even myself, to memorize the long version. Okay. Now, yes, your guess is right. This was the reason why the crafter of the law included Section 1 short title. Okay. The short title or name of this act is called the Architecture Act of 2004. This is better than the one we just read. Of course, thank you to Section 1. By the way, for my convenience, throughout my short videos about RA 9266, I will be using RA 9266, which I also popular known in the building industry, right? Now, moving on to Section 2. The title of Section 2 is Statement of Policy. Now, before we go on in reading what is in Section 2 of Article 2, Article 1, General Provision, and I share my thought about Section 2. Now, allow me to just define the meaning of the phrase Statement of Policy, so that we are on the same page, and so that we will have a common understanding of what the phrase Statement of Policy means. Okay? Now, in general terms, the meaning of the phrase Statement of Policy spells out somehow the general framework, the core principle of the law. And we must all understand that a statement of policy is generally a formal writing that would provide specific guidelines or provisions or a subject for that structure, the governance and the scope of works, and of course extending it to the scope of activities and application and enforcement of it, and most especially focusing or probably eyeing on the purpose of that particular law. This is in general the statement of policy provides. Okay. Now, so we have now a common understanding of this phrase statement of policy. Now, this time allow me to post this on the screen, okay, so that we can read it aloud and for you to read along with me, if you wish. Okay. Now, this is Section 2 with the title Statement of Policy under Article 1, General Provision. Section 2, Statement of Policy. Now, the state recognizes the importance of architects in nation building and development. Hence, it shall develop and nurture competent, virtuous, productive, and well-rounded professional architect whose standards of practice and service shall be excellent, qualitative, world-class, and globally competitive through invaluable, honest, effective, and credible licensure examinations, and through regulatory measures, programs, and activities that fosters their professional growth and development. Now, allow me to just share briefly my thoughts on Section 2, Article 1 in the Architecture Act of 2004. In the very first sentence of Section 2, Statement of Policy of this Act, it already emphasizes that government recognizes the importance, the important role of architects in nation building and the development of this country, whether in urban areas, suburban areas, or probably rural areas. Now, in short, the architects are key professionals in the progress and growth of a community and of the country. It is also stated that before an architect plays that role, he must pass the regulatory requirement of the government in the Philippines. Okay? And furthermore, it encourages the architect to continue to develop or expand their knowledge in the field of architecture through experiences and learnings. And of course, aside from that, right, the architect must advance in various programs and activities that would foster their professional growth and development, and most especially in the field of their expertise. It is also mentioned that the architect must be a well-rounded professional in the practice of architecture and should have that competency, to perform their professional role or functions to their delivery of service. Not only in the country of origin, which is, of course, in the Philippines, but also in the global arena as well, right? And another thing I need to mention is that one of the key elements here is that the architect must show a high moral standard and professionalism in the practice, in ethics, and the architect way of life, as a whole. So in other words, the architects must be a role model in the community and even beyond those boundaries. Well, that was only my take on Section 2, Statement of Policy under Article 1, General Provision of the Architecture Act of 2004. And I hope I was able to partake to you something from this episode, right? And again, thank you for staying up to this end of this video, and please do not forget to watch RA 9266 Part 1 if you are not able to watch it yet, and some other videos I posted under All About Shelters in YouTube. By the way, if some of you got something from this video, please like it, share it, and request others to subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't touched that subscribe button yet, please do so. Thank you for doing that. All right, so please follow me in my next video on RA 9266 Part 3, where I will be presenting Section 3 entitled Definition of Terms. This is going to be a long video, I think. And again, this is Architect Edric Marcos C. Florentino, your host on All About Shelters. And bye for now, and see you in my other videos. Bye!